Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if this is the first video of mine that you are watching. So this week we're taking a little bit of a break from the vlogs, and I'm finally going to talk to you about my spiritual awakening, if you will. This is a video that I've actually been wanting to film for a while. I had the original idea last year on my birthday. I turned 25 last June. And I had the idea to make this video then, and I just didn't feel like I could properly communicate it until now, because I feel like I was still kind of going through it. So this is my spiritual awakening, spiritual journey. I hate the word journey, but I feel like that is truly the only word that accurately describes it. Or maybe my quarter life crisis. Before we get into it, I would just want to disclaim that I'm just talking about my own experience, my journey, and by no means am I saying am I the most spiritual, enlightened person ever. My purpose of making this video is just to hopefully resonate with anyone watching. I assume if you clicked on this video, I mean, maybe you're just nosy, but maybe you're also going through like a similar thing, and so I just want to make the video to talk about my experience. I also feel like I have been on Instagram, on social media, making videos for a while, and I just feel so different now than when I first kind of started making videos, and who I am and my content has changed so much. So I also feel like, I don't know, I just want to let you guys in on that. But other than that, if this resonates with you, then great. If it doesn't, then that's also great. It doesn't mean that you are wrong, that I am wrong. I think that everyone experiences spirituality differently and has their own journey, again, if you will. Take what you wish, leave what doesn't resonate, and it's all good. The most commonly asked question about this is what triggered it, and I feel like there kind of was one experience situation that did really trigger it, but I kind of feel like I had a little bit of a foundation before then. I found the law of attraction, and for anyone, again, that's watching this, if you know anything about law of attraction, manifestation, that kind of thing, you've probably heard of The Secret, the book or the video. So when I was still in university, I was introduced to the documentary or the movie, and it just really resonated with me. And before that, I didn't grow up in a super religious or spiritual household. There was nothing that I was necessarily taught about spirituality or religion growing up, but it also wasn't I was taught that it was bad or anything. It just wasn't really talked about. So I feel like that gave me a good foundation, because I didn't really have any predisposed notions about anything. I just didn't know about it, which is cool, because then I could explore those things on my own. And then I did end up having a lot of people in my life growing up that were raised Catholic, that were into that. I actually ended up going to a Catholic high school halfway through grade 11. I transferred, but then the only religion classes that I had to take were world religions. So I got to learn about a bunch of different religions, which was also really cool. So yeah, in university, I was introduced to the law of attraction, manifestation, kind of through The Secret, and then that triggered me just going on to learn a lot more on my own, listen to podcasts, read different things, YouTube different things. So I just kind of went from there and started learning as much as I could, because I found it really interesting, and that really resonated with me. The principles in The Secret really resonated with me, and I could see how it applied to my life. I always knew, I think kind of on a surface level, that I always wanted to grow. I always wanted to become better. I had a very, I think, big vision for my life, but I also had no idea how I would get there. I didn't talk to many people about it, I don't think. Even when I first got into the relationship that I'm still in now, my boyfriend and I have been together for over 3 years, it wasn't something that I really talked about, because I don't think I necessarily knew how to talk about it, and I didn't even know if I felt super confident in it, I guess. I felt very new into it, and those things were resonating with me. I don't think I had like a really solid foundation of my beliefs in that area, if that makes sense. I was just very interested in it. One other thing that I want to mention before I talk about the event that kind of like triggered this, I guess, for me, I watched someone very close to me go through something that was really, really hard for them, and just watching the way that they handled it and like faced it head on. And I just feel like that is worth mentioning. And also, like, honestly, kind of part of the reason why I want to talk about this is because it's just so different when you read about healing and read about growing as a person and being better and how to become more successful, you know, whatever it is. But it's so different when you actually, you personally or someone close to you actually like goes through it. And I just think that talking about our experiences and being open about our experiences is so valuable. And I know firsthand how much it impacted me and how much I've been able to even grow as a person from their experience and seeing them go through that experience. So hence part of the reason why I just think it's important for me to talk about. So the, I guess, final, sounds very dramatic, but final trigger of this for me was actually a situation with my boyfriend. We were kind of going through a point where we were living together. We had been together for a while. We're kind of like past the little like, you know, honeymoon phase where like, I don't know, nothing bothers you, and you know, living with someone, anyone, is difficult and an adjustment. It was kind of coming to a point where we had to decide like, okay, are we gonna change? Is this something that we can change or that we even want to change, you know, both of us individually? Or is this something that we can accept and go forward in the relationship? Or do we just accept that like this is how we are and we don't want to change, and maybe that means that we aren't meant to be together? There was behaviors on my end that, from my perspective, like I have kind of always been that way, and this is who I am, and this is what I saw growing up, and so I don't realize why there's a problem with them. But that's because I have only ever experienced my reality, right? Like, we are all raised in such different environments and different realities with different behaviors from the people close to us growing up, and that obviously impacts and kind of shapes who we are as we grow up, how we interpret things, how we treat other people. If everyone has these different realities and different perceptions of their reality or of reality, then is there one ultimate truth, or is there just our different perspectives and like what is true for us, I guess? I'll just give you an example. I am a very sassy person. Like, that is kind of my, I want to say my humor, but it's also just kind of like, it's what I almost like revert back to, is like, I'm a very sassy person. It is how I joke around, but it's also, I don't know, it's just like a behavior that I revert back to. Yes, I could ultimately just say like, this is who I am and this is my humor, and like, you have to, if you love me, then you have to accept that. But I also have to realize that if this is making him feel a certain way that I don't intend to be, and if I'm making him feel that way, I'm probably making other people feel that way. And is that actually who I want to be and in alignment with who I actually am? And maybe this is a defense mechanism or something that I developed when I was growing up, and now I just am that way. And it was kind of a moment where I realized that have a lot of behaviors that are unintentional. And just because, I believe, just because something is unintentional doesn't necessarily make it okay. Also, on the flip side, like, my boyfriend knows that I'm not intentionally, you know, trying to make him feel shitty or anything, but like that is the truth. And again, in a relationship, I believe that yes, we want to be true to ourselves, but we also have to consider how the other person is feeling if you love that person. And like I said, I didn't feel like, you know, being sassy or me saying that I'm sassy, is that who I really am, and is that who I want to be? Questioning that within myself made me realize I, for a lot of my life, haven't been who I actually am, which sounds weird. I guess if I had to sum it up in like a sentence, my whole spiritual awakening, spiritual journey, whatever, has just been a process of me becoming more me, and me kind of like uncovering the layers of like conditioning of, you know, society, my family, etc., and just coming back to who I actually am, and becoming myself more intentionally. Like a lot of the stuff that I'm saying, I realized from reading books, listening to podcasts, all of that stuff, that I knew these things on a surface level. Like I knew that everyone has their own reality. I knew that we all have conditioning growing up, but this was like the first moment that I really truly realized it in a behavior. And like obviously it was really upsetting to learn, not even to learn because I knew, but like to truly, like, I don't know, I just finally like truly felt and understood on a whole different level. I gave you one example, but obviously there's other behaviors, and when this was honestly like a big kind of like moment for me. From that, I obviously like kind of, for lack of a better word, spiraled and started honestly analyzing like every single behavior and habit and pattern that I had been living out in my life. I remember one week specifically after we like had this big discussion between him and I that like made me kind of, you know, like when I went on my own, reflected, like, is this, like I said, is this something that I want to change, blah, blah, blah. And I realized that it obviously is what I want to change, because I didn't feel like I was acting and behaving in a way that was in alignment with who I truly am. So I remember for the week after that I had that huge like realization, which again might sound kind of obvious, but I don't know, it just like hit on a whole new level. I just like had a week of feeling so shitty, like so guilty and shameful and upset and mad, and like all just like so many different feelings. One of the big things is that I was really, really upset for a little bit that who I am was not necessarily my fault, but I also had to take 100% responsibility for who I am. I think I was just behaving and like going through life unintentionally. And I think that is like the best way that I could describe it, unintentionally or unconsciously. Like I wasn't being intentional with the habits that I was creating, like a little bit, you know, like I was really into working out, and on a surface level I was interested in bettering myself, but it wasn't until this happened that I like truly experienced it. One of my therapists actually said to me one time how so much of our brain develops in the first 0 to 7 years, and how crucial those years are, and how much we're taking in those years. And like when you think back, at least me, I don't have a lot of specific memories from those ages, but those years really develop and shape how we are going to be in the world, like for the rest of our lives, if we're not conscious of it. I experienced a lot of anger around that, which I've now obviously worked through, because everything happens for a reason, blah, blah, blah. I have the opportunity to change it and to heal and everything now. But I'm just trying to be open about like one of the feelings that I went through, and I feel like that is really normal. Yeah, honestly, that week, I remember I just completely, I mean, thank God I was at the time completely working for myself. Like, I didn't have a job that I needed to be reporting to anyone or going in for like scheduled shifts or anything like that. So I really was able to just like take a week off and really sit with that. And I started researching more to do with my specific situation. I think that no matter your situation, you know, everyone has their own shit. Me personally, some of the big things that I dealt with is one of my parents, my dad, not really being in my life. And I also dealt with a stepdad then who had a very big impact on my life. I mean, I want to say in a negative way, but again, everything happens for a reason, and it did help to obviously shape the person that I am now, and I can look back and I can pick positives out of these things. But a big part of this journey was also coming to terms with a lot of the negative. And something for me growing up, I always kind of registered that I had a very different life and a very different family life than a lot of the people around me. I never really gave myself credit, or I never stopped to really consider how that affected me. Like I knew in the back of my mind that it obviously affected me, and I felt pretty different than a lot of the people around me, but I never really stopped to consider how it affected me and gave myself kind of that time and space, I guess, to consider it. I never before this had talked to therapists or anything. I had never really done any big reflection on it. So that kind of triggered it, like went into kind of all of that, into analyzing my childhood and all of the ways that it had affected me far beyond just in my immediate like romantic relationship. So this period then was a lot of uncovering the layers, like peeling layers back and analyzing like what is me and what is not me, and intentionally now creating and discovering who I am. A lot of asking why about everything, about every behavior, every feeling that I had, every thought that I had. Like, why am I having this thought? Why am I having this feeling? How I feel like I'm maybe different now than I was. I'm a lot more me. I think about and I spend time thinking about who I am, who I want to be, and intentionally moving from that place. I spend time getting in alignment with myself, not just letting outside opinions and people and social media and all of those things dictate who I am, how I'm feeling, what I'm gonna do, all the things. Another question that was pretty commonly asked was how this has impacted my relationships. I would say that it's definitely made all of my relationships more meaningful to me and more even intentional with how I communicate and participate in those relationships. They're a lot deeper. We have deeper conversation, and that doesn't necessarily mean that like every single friend we need to be like talking about our traumas and everything together, but I want to know how people are actually doing. I want to know what's actually going on in their lives, not just on a surface level of like, oh, this is what I'm doing every single day. I'm a lot more unapologetically myself. Can make relationships a little bit difficult, I feel like, if you're used to connecting on more of a surface level. It also has changed how I communicate my needs and my boundaries in relationships, and I am more confident in doing so because I'm just more confident in my own needs and boundaries because I know myself better. I just wanted to, I guess, kind of catch you guys up on what I've been through, what I've been going through in the past couple of years. And if you have been watching my videos or watching my content over the years, I feel like it has definitely changed. And this video feels like just another step, I guess, in fully being myself and kind of putting myself out there and being like, this is who I am. Because like I said in the past, I did make a lot of like fitness content and workout content, and that's still a huge part of my life, but it's not all of my life. It doesn't consume my entire life, and I don't want it to either. That will be it for this video. I hope that you were able to resonate with it. I hope it was able to maybe help you a little bit. If you have any questions, I'm super open, honestly, to talk about literally anything. I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching.